The crux of most rapture talk lies in the text Luke 17 verse 31. I tell you, in that night there shall be two men in one bed. The one shall be taken and the other shall be left. Two women shall be grinding together. The one shall be taken and the other left. Two men shall be in the field. The one shall be taken and the other left. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together. The key to understanding this text lies in the last sentence. I want to call attention to the fact that this doesn't necessarily state who is in a better position. Whether the person taken or the person left is the person that you should be ascribing to be. It does not state that here. It just says that one will be taken and the other one left. We don't know what happens to the person taken, and we don't know what happens to the person left. However, the last sentence says, and they answered him, and he said, wheresoever the body is where the eagles will be gathered together. Well, if you know anything about eagles, eagles tend to gather together over dead carcasses. Okay, I want you to keep that in mind as I go through what the actual rapture will be. So, as I have been teaching on this channel, we are getting ready to go into an event called the gravitational black sun event. This is called the Great Solar Flash, as many have spoken of in past time, and I am here to tell you that this event is coming because the birth of the man-child is underway, and the birth of this child will cause a solar flash because his energy never existed within the realm, and his photon light will overwhelm the system, shutting down the moon machine, causing it to turn red as it overloads, and will force a solar flash by bringing in new photon light that causes the sun's energy to burst, which is a necessary solar class flare because we need that in order to respark the sun's energy. The problem with this particular event is not necessarily whether it should happen. It absolutely should, because if we don't have the birth of this child, the sun in and of itself's energy is going out anyway. It is steadily sleeping out because it's just at the end of its cycle. And in order for us to get a new sun, we're going to have to respark it. It's like a generator, and it needs a boost in order for it to be resparked and start over again. So the birth of this child in this very tight-knit system will be the spark that causes the sun to reignite. However, we are headed in that direction, and that means that this solar flash will be a threshold, sort of gateway, sort of judgment event, and it is literally a singularity, because what that means is extinction level, meaning that no flesh will survive beyond that point, because we are talking about a world that is going to consist of strictly light bodies, meaning that this will be about photon light energy coming out of matter-based bodies and a matter-based existence. Okay, so that means that all of the matter that shapes us as human beings, animals, all of it will come undone, because as I explained in other videos, this system is tightly wound together, held together by the stars, which are alloy balls, and the moon machine, which projects onto those balls, creating a grid of light of 196 polyminos and heptaminos, which is just a representation of different forms of a light grid that outlines the physical light mapping of our bodies and all things in existence. If you want, you can watch my video on the Bible Decoded, where I go into exactly how all of this was built. However, just to give you a brief explanation here, once the moon machine is overwhelmed because of the birth of this child, because his light has never entered the realm and there's only room for so many photon light beings in this realm, he is going to overwhelm the system, and as depicted in Revelation 6:12, the sun will turn black as sackcloth, the stars will fall, which are the alloy balls that are adhered to the magnetic sphere, and the moon machine will turn red, or the alloy ball that the moon machine is housed in, because the moon machine will overheat because the system is overwhelmed, will turn red, and all of the magnetic resonance that holds all matter together by the vortex that spins within Earth-centered dipole magnetic sphere is going to cause the stars to fall and everything to be overwhelmed. So that means that all matter-based bodies will come undone because the light mapping is no longer working. The stars are what hold us all together. It's what keeps the simulation going. It's just like a video game build. It's like unplugging all of the mechanics and the programming and everything coming undone, and us just being one nebulous form of light. So we will go back to the source of our original, which is the photon light beings. And that is why Revelations talks about us receiving white robes, because you will become a light being. So when you talk about a rapture, this is what you're talking about. However, the rapture word is kind of misleading, and I don't really like the use of it, because there is absolutely nothing in this particular text that says rapture. Okay, what it says here is one will be taken and the other left, and that the eagles will gather together for the carcasses, which means that bodies basically are going to be left behind after this particular event. And based on what my understanding is, the people that will be taken will be those who don't have the threshold or the light body to meet the solar flare, meaning that their energy is low frequency, low vibratory. They haven't become MAAT, where by going where MAAT is at, confessing with love and lightening their heart chakra green energy, so that they can pass the threshold of light, and they won't be able to meet Ra, okay, which is what this is all about, by clearing the command prompts of the analog light body. Okay, so the people that will be taken will basically be like a system deletion, so to speak, where the light is not an energetic match for their light, and they just become obsolete, because it's just a matter of the brightness or the magnitude of the flare being more than their photon light can handle, because it is not vibrating at a certain level. And the people who are left behind will basically be the ones who can absorb that energy. As a matter of fact, it will be more like a power up for them, because they can meet the light. They don't have a bunch of low frequencies within their body. They'll receive this new energy, and they will be the ones left. Okay, this is what this particular scripture is talking about. And there will be things for the eagles to go behind and grab up, but I believe that was more so metaphorical to state that the matter will be left behind, because even the birds, everything that is a part of the light mapping simulation system will come undone, because matter is held together through this light grid mapping of 196 polyminerals and heptaminerals, and it adheres to our bodies through the magnetic resonance. So it's kind of like you outline the bodies first, which outlines the light using this moon machine projection system that bounces off of the alloy balls, creating this very eccentric and intricate polymineral heptamineral system grid of light that outlines all life. Okay, and all life is consisted of the sun's photon light. So it's kind of like the sun was placed first, the grid mapping was done, and the moon machine is the projector that kind of maps everything out. And the magnetic resonance, once it saw the light mapping, or once it was done, then this vortex of an environment that has a magnetic pull or spin caused all the matter from the ground, which is why it says that man was formed from the dust of the ground, to cleave onto bodies. And that goes for us, and that goes for birds and all of the animals and everything that is in existence here that is encased in matter. So if the stars fall and the moon turns red and overheats, that means that this light mapping system will no longer be holding us all together. Okay, and we will be in our original state, whatever that light state is, pure white photon light beings. Okay, this is what it's all about. This is what the so-called rapture is, and no man knows the date or the time. Okay, this is going to play out in its own divine timing. You cannot set a date for this, and you need not try and predict a date, because you will only continuously set yourself up for failure. The only last thing that I will say about this rapture is everyone tends to think that the bride of Christ is just a metaphor for the church, which is not correct. The bride of Christ is actually a woman. She is the woman that will give birth to the man child who will bring about this reset. And she is the one that is raptured first. She is one of two witnesses as depicted in Revelations 11, and in Revelations 12, when it singles her out, it is talking about her being rescued by the masculine counterpart of the two witnesses. She is the bride of Christ, and he is the bridegroom, and he will prepare a place for her, pick her up, and take her there. That is her rapture, in order for her to be able to give birth to this child. And she will be raptured first, because she has to be the one to bring about this divine child that's going to cause the reset that causes everything to shut down, and one taking the other left, metaphorically speaking, when this gravitational black sun singularity event happens. So I hope you enjoyed this message and it brought you much needed clarity in regards to this rapture talk. Thank you so much for watching. Put a comment down in the comments just to let me know what you think of this content overall. Keep shining bright. Peace, love, and light.